Hello everyone, this is Reece. Today we're going to talk about original oratory. So first, what is original oratory? Original oratory is a public address event in which you address a specific societal issue and then provide a solution to that issue. So they're going to be around 10 minutes long with a 30-second grace period. It has to be completely memorized, and you don't get any type of memory aids like boards, PowerPoint, flashcards, you name it. Okay, so that's OO in a nutshell. Let's go on to how to write an OO. So you're going to find that it's not much different from any type of argumentative essay that you've written. So first you're going to decide on a topic. So a topic can be literally anything you want as long as you can argue a solution. So you got to prove why it's an issue and then provide your solution. So I suggest something that has a little bit of a personal touch to it. So something that you've experienced before, like a problem that, affects you, then you can pick that, because if you have a personal connection, you're going to have a little bit more authenticity. It's going to get you some more, uniqueness points. Judges like uniqueness. So if you have something you think you can write about, do that. Okay, so let's go on to writing it. So like I said, not that much different from literally any other argumentative essay that you've written, except it is going to be a lot longer than, your standard 5-paragraph. In fact, it's probably going to be around 1,200 to 1,400. I've heard varying things, so if it's about 100 words over that, 100 words less than that, then you should probably be okay. Really, just make sure that it doesn't go over 10 minutes. You can go into a grace period, but don't abuse that, And make sure you're not talking super fast. It should never go past, faster than a conversational level, and make sure your words don't run together, all that. Okay, so anyway, intro. So this goes back to the personal touch I was talking about. So if you have something that you have a story about to tell, then pick it for the intro. So a lot of people do personal anecdote for the intro to get you hooked, essentially. So you can tell about a time the problem affected you, and then really set the scene, okay? That's what is going to get people really invested. So use all your storytelling powers that you have. So, set the scene. Then from there you can lead into the problem. So normally your personal anecdote is an intro to the problem. So once you have arrived at the problem, you're going to do your thesis. So hopefully I don't need to explain what a thesis is. If not, I'm sure there are other resources you could use. So thesis. So you're going to cover what you're going to talk about in your entire speech. And a lot of people do sort of this elementary type of structure to it. I don't like to use that word, but in a way it kind of is, because it gives middle school. I won't lie. It's like, so today we're going to talk about point 1. Then we're going to talk about point 2. And lastly, we're going to talk about point 3. It usually follows some type of formula like that for the thesis, but that has a benefit, actually. When you're in a OO round and everybody has a 10-minute speech and there's 6 of you in there, it can get a little boring. I'm not lying. So when you have an engaging type of thesis like that, it gets people like, okay, now we're moving on to this, and now we're moving on to that. It gives them a little roadmap so they don't get lost. And with the thesis, sometimes people like to tie in an extended metaphor, which can be confusing because I don't have a specific example to show you right now. I'm trying to remember what my extended metaphor was from this past year, but it's also been 2 or 3 months since States. So, okay, I used the example of a wheel for mine. I connected the cycle of addiction to a wheel. So that can be an example of extended metaphor. So you tie that in with your thesis. So so today we're going to jump into what first got addiction's wheel turning in Appalachia through the examination of the coal and pharmaceutical industries. Then we're going to talk about why discriminating language keeps this wheel turning, before finally pressing the brakes and uncovering what we all can do to help end addiction in Appalachia. Sorry, that was my thesis statement. It was botched. But you can see what I was doing with the wheel and how I kind of followed this. So today I'm going to tell you about. So hopefully that's a good enough example to where you understand what the so today I'm going to tell you about and the extended metaphor and how they merge together. So now that you have your thesis, you're going to work on your body. So normally they're going to follow this type of progression. Normally they naturally do this. So for your first body paragraph, not body paragraph, I should say first point, because it's going to be more than a paragraph. It's going to be what's causing the issue. So that can be just like any type of basic information that we're going to need going forward to understand why this is a problem. Then you're going to go into how it's affecting people. So specific examples is going to help here. Then lastly, how to fix it. This is what is going to make or break your presentation, because there's a good chance someone has already done an OO. You might even have someone in your round with the same issue, okay? So you have to make sure that your solutions are unique and applicable to your entire audience, which sounds kind of daunting, but really just consider who's going to be your judge. A lot of times it's just some random mom off the street, because people use parent judges a lot. What state are you going to be doing your presentation in? Like, are you going to be, over in like nationals, like DC, or is it going to be like a small town? Okay, so know your audience, and then for the last point, you basically just conclude, leave people with something to chew on, okay. So now we're going to go on to like the special tips and tricks to make your speech the most unique as possible. Like I said, know your audience. Who are you trying to persuade specifically? Then ethos, pathos, logos, okay? So ethos, make sure that you present in a way that makes you look confident. I'll go over physical presentation in just a second. And then make sure you're using recognizable sources. So as I said earlier, there's a big chance that your judge is going to be a parent judge, especially in West Virginia circuit. So you want to make sure that your source is something that they're going to be like, oh, okay, I recognize that's credible. Not like, okay, I've never heard of that before. Or something, obviously, that's not credible. Like, you can't be like, quote it to reddit.com, okay? Nobody's going to trust that, okay? Logos. So make sure your argument follows like a logical flow. As long as you're just you're following like the what's causing the problem, how it's affecting people, how to fix it, that should probably get you your logos, along with sourcing too, and just like having a good structure. So if you're questioning whether your speech is good, whether your like argument is sound, you can hand it off to someone else. Like, I really, really recommend peer review. Like, you could hand it off to a debater, be like, debate my points, like, where are my holes, to strengthen your argument. And then pathos, that's going to, kind of lend into your extended metaphor, especially if your extended metaphor and your thesis is like funny in some way. That can kind of help people be like, oh, that's unique, that's funny, I like that. Your personal anecdote, especially if it's dramatic, get the, tear jerkers, or make people laugh, really. Just make them feel an emotion, and it's going to make you stand out later. Okay, so now that we've gone on like to the rhetoric, how to write, all that, let's go on to how to physically present. So I'm going to stand up for this. I'm going to talk to you about a speech triangle. So it's exactly what it sounds like. So we went over the structure of the OO. So now let's translate that into like a physical presentation. So for your intro, you're going to stand in the middle of your triangle. So, I'm doing my personal anecdote, doing my thesis, and then I'm going to move into point one. So I'm going to tell you about point one. Now I'm in point one. I'm out of frame. Okay, I'm standing in a new place. Anyway, you get the point. So now that we've talked about point one, now we're going to move on to point two. And then I'm going to go over here. Still out of frame. Okay, now we're going to move on to point three. And you're going to go back to where you were standing for your intro. And then for your conclusion, you kind of like move up a little bit, really connect with them with your, final words, your final impacts. And then, so hand gestures. Hand gestures are I don't know. People like to do different things with OO, to be honest. Like I was saying, with the extended metaphor, sometimes people kind of choreograph movements in. Normally, OO is not something that you like block or anything crazy like that. Like maybe like a OI or something like that, more dramatic. But with the extended metaphor, I think that's kind of the exception because it's like kind of rehearsed. So with me, I was talking about a wheel in my extended metaphor. So a few times I would kind of go like this, or we're gonna pump the brakes. You know, there's a number of things you could choreograph in. Just like don't go running around the room or drop to the floor like crazy dramatic stuff. Just nice, simple. And for the most part, when you're doing like your main points, I wouldn't say to do anything like crazy choreographed. Just stay conversational, like how I'm doing with my hands now. Like I'm not like doing robotic like lists or counting my fingers off. Just keep it like varied too. Like I have a bad habit of just kind of, but now I'm thinking about my hand gestures. Try not to think about it because then it makes you awkward, like I am right now. Because when you think about it, what was I saying? Okay, if you don't know if your hand gestures are like varied enough, like you can record yourself. Like I'm very aware right now of how I look. Or you can just ask a friend. So practice on your physical presentation when you're memorizing. And no swaying, okay? Feet shoulder width apart. You can't see my feet right now, but I'm not like standing like this. I'm not like swaying because this goes back to ethos with the physical presentation. Like if you're standing here like rocking back and forth and like you look really nervous, like it makes me not trust you. Like because it doesn't look like you believe in your point. So why should I believe in it if you don't believe in it? So make sure you stand up, chin straight, shoulders back. You look really confident. Fake it till you make it. Because honestly, physical presentation can get you a long way with OO. Honestly, I would say it might even be a little bit more important than speech writing in some aspects because think about it. Imagine that you're listening to a song that has really, really great lyrics, like it's super poetic, really cool, but the voice is just super terrible. Like the delivery is so bad and you're like, oh God, this is so annoying. I'd never listen to it just because of the way it sounds. It's the same thing with OO. Like if you're standing up there and you're like droning on the same tone the entire time and it doesn't even look like you want to be there, then your judge is going to be like, okay, well, I don't care. But maybe not that harsh, but you get it. Memorizing. Go sentence by sentence. Memorizing is probably the worst part of the OO. I would say make sure you cut out at least 2 weeks before the tournament to try and memorize it. Because 1 week is intense, let me tell you. Try to do it before. I would not suggest it. 2 weeks is probably the most comfortable, or more. If you wanted to write over the summer, that's gives you a lot of time. But don't cut into like more like less than 2 weeks. That's just hell, honestly. Forgive me. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I probably missed something. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.